ladies and gentlemen. If you could only hear the banter, I don't even know what to call it. I guess dialogue between Caleb and Rob before we go live with these things. I wish I could just record that because that's truly a gift for the ears. But here we are
have
live. The what now?
We have the audio version. Maybe if there's enough requests, we can release a couple of audio snips.
You know, that'd be a good Patreon perk. Like, get the uncensored, unedited versions of our podcasts. Ooh. So, yeah. Listeners, what do you think? Let us know. We have a Patreon. We just don't have it active for any incentives yet. It's not an area we've explored. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Dosage. We are live, back with you after... Hey, yo, thanks for the host, Smalls. Thanks for joining us, though. We're live back after a short break. We took a break. I was in Chicago for Survivor Series. Shout out to Henry and Andrea. That was a fun trip. And then, of course, Thanksgiving for us in the United States was this week. Full bellies and a few days off of work for myself, hopefully for my partners in crime here on the show as well. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, Caleb. Welcome, Rob, to 103. It's the game of the year.
Woo!
I feel like we were just doing this for 2018, don't you?
This year did go by in certain spots real fast, honestly.
Like, I feel like we were doing the remote thing with Eric, me, you, and Eric, you as in Rob, all remoting in and just kind of doing our discussions. As a recap, what did we give for 2018, our game of the year?
Spider-Man, PS4.
And what did we not give it? Sorry.
What did we not give it to, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was God of War.
Yeah,
which everyone else gave it to.
I know. I'm just trolling a few of our listeners.
No, I know.
So.
Waiting to see a specific person respond about it.
Hey, who knows? Maybe. Go ahead.
I'll tell you the troll that's going to be thrown back at you on that one. Both contenders were PS4 exclusives.
For this year? For that year?
God of War and Spider-Man are both PS4 exclusives.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I got nothing. We all know my stance if I was going to rank it. We've pounded that, into the ground. So
those are still last year.
Yeah, that's so 2018. I don't give a crap about that year because we're about 2019 now. That's what we're here for tonight. We have a few segments tonight. We're going to basically be covering Nintendo's, Sony's, which is a PlayStation console for those that don't know, the Microsoft Xbox, PC, mobile, our biggest letdowns, and then we're going to give our game of the year. And then, as always, we close with, what is it, Caleb?
What you doing?
Yeah, one of our favorite segments. So let's kick things off here. We got a lot to cover, and I'm sure you don't have that long a drive, so we want to keep it all in your single commute, maybe bleed over into two. But we're going to kick things off with our top 5 for the Nintendo in 2019. Caleb, what you got?
That's me. Hold on. Let me find my list. I forgot it again. Just 2 pages up.
Well, no dead air. Let's talk about something silly while he's looking at least.
All right, here we go.
He's got it.
Number 1 on my list, it's going to be Pokemon Sword. That's just kind of going because that's what I've been doing a lot right now. I love just the game in general, but I also love kind of the way they took the storyline. I just think some of the energy stuff is really interesting, and the path of the gyms and stuff I find to be I find the storyline of this to be interesting. It's something I never really thought about Pokemon games until one of my buddies, Neil, kind of said you should pay more attention to the actual game. And so I'm really enjoying the game outside of just kind of raising and grinding. So Pokemon, one thing we kind of talked about prior to press and record today was, will Smash Bros be counted because it came out after the Game of the Year ceremony or rewards last year? So I'm going to put that in my list, Smash Bros. It's a classic. And then I kind of break the rules for my next few. Luigi's Mansion 3, I haven't played it, but it looks amazing, and I'm very excited to play it.
Do you have it?
Shame on me. No, it's on my Christmas list.
That's right.
And I don't think that should be held against me, so poo-poo on you. And then the other 2, I think, are also technically breaking the rules because they're not new this year. They're just new to Switch this year. So Overwatch for me, huge Overwatch fan. I'm kind of ready to buy Overwatch on Switch and just beat up on all the little kids who've never played it before. And then Cuphead. I think Cuphead makes a lot of sense on a mobile platform. So I really like it there.
I agree with Cuphead on there. Both those last 2, of course, not in 2019 being released other than on the Switch platform. I was going to ask you, but then you enlightened me regarding Overwatch. How does that play on the Switch, but you don't have it yet? Rob, do you know
Yeah.
by chance how it plays on the
I,
Switch?
I I don't. I'm really interested to see how it holds up in terms of frame rate and connectivity, considering all the things about the Switch. I'm sure not having to run it at 4K like the other consoles claim to.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think they do. Will be helpful, but I'm really interested to see how it holds up performance wise for sure.
I haven't heard a lot of negative feedback personally about it. Um, I think my bigger concern would be just the friends, kind of the social side of it. So that'll be something to, I guess, look into. But again, it doesn't really fit in the category. But I'm breaking the rules. I'm Caleb. That's how I do things.
Yeah, my concern with Overwatch is Nintendo is not the greatest at online games.
No.
That is the most polite way you could have put that.
So, I mean, that's my first concern. The second concern is the fact that you have to use the application to communicate with your team, right? It's not built into the Switch. So, like, a game like
I
that.
can't wait for that to get fixed in a firmware patch.
Will they, though?
No. They're gonna need to revamp.
Who said
the whole friends system?
who said it would be a Nintendo firmware patch?
I mean, sure.
Because jokes aside, I will say modded firmwares have done wonders for some other consoles in the past. So who knows?
Yeah.
Definitely a possibility, but not something that I would put my money on.
So
no,
Redbeard,
sadly no.
Redbeard in chat real quick says the preview streamers said they dug it. Overwatch on Switch, that is. So I mean, that's
positivity.
A hardcore, that's a hardcore community. So if there's general positivity, that's a good thing. Because one of the big games they got review bombed. So your first pick there, Pokemon. People were ripping that one apart for some odd reason. I still don't understand why, personally.
I don't either, honestly.
I feel like for me, a lot of personal. I haven't done a lot of research, just into the interwebs, but a lot of people in my personal life that I've talked to about this game have just been like, I mean, yeah, it's Pokemon, but it's not worth $60. And my point is just, it is a full-fledged game. It's a chance to have a new Pokemon experience because Pokemon Let's Go was just obviously a revamp of Yellow, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me to have that on a big screen, new Pokemon, new lineup, new gyms, new experience, obviously, it's just something I was very excited for. And for me, I try not to view the price of a game as to where it's worth or how good of a game it is. I think that's just nothing that I can affect. So why would I complain about it? And so that's been a lot of the negative feedback I've heard myself. I think for the people who are Pokemon diehards, I think, in my opinion, it should just be it's a Pokemon game. I mean, every new game is going to be a little bit different and have a little bit of new thing they try to throw in there, and I've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah. Your other picks there, Smash. I'm going to acknowledge our concerns that before we went on air with this is say yes. It should be a contender because it aired after us personally and the Game Awards. It came out after those things acknowledged Games of the Year. So it's in that window. Even though it's a 2018 release, it's in the window between our picks. So it acknowledged as part of this criteria.
I feel like the calendar of game releases should include December of the year before.
Yes.
I feel like that makes
I think that's fair, honestly.
Neat way to kind of group it up. I feel like it should be called, the game release calendar, and it kind of gets closed up that way.
Shout out to Chad before we move on to Rob's here. Red Beer says, I think it's important to look at price, though. For example, the Simpsons game was torn apart critically. I paid $10 for it and had at least $12 worth of fun from it. How do you justify a difference of $10 to $12?
But I get that, though. But my counterpoint to Redbeard there is, were people's tearing apart of it that it wasn't worth the $10, or the tearing apart that it was just a bad game? Because for me, that's where I think people are saying, at least about Pokemon, it's not worth $60. So I think that's not a fair assumption, as if they're talking about it's worth as to if it's a good game or not. I don't expect them to be saying that it wasn't worth $10.
Sure.
Have said that it was just not a good game.
I would also like to point out that from everything I've read and everything I've seen, this Pokemon game delivered exactly what the entire Pokemon community has been begging for like a decade. They just wanted a Pokemon game on console. And
Yeah.
now, not
Yeah.
only did you get that, but it's still mobile, so you lost nothing and
Oh,
gained
absolutely.
everything, and people still want to bitch about it.
Well,
I found
that's
myself like, and I don't know about you, Travis. I know you've been playing it. I found myself before like my first big battle or before my first evolution. I would, if I was playing handheld, I would go to the home screen really quick and wait till I got home to put it on my TV and watch a first big battle or my first evolution on the big screen because that's what I've wanted. And so for me, it was cool to have moments like that where I had that option, and then to also be like playing at home and oh, got to run to the store or got to run to work, throw in my pocket and just kind of keep going.
I mean, to be honest with you, and potential spoiler, even though this was covered in the selling point of the game, within the first little bit of the game, you get to an open area. Hey yo, thanks for the host, Batman. You get to an open world area, which is just a large piece of map with,
Wild
grass.
area.
Yeah, it's the wild area. So like grassy areas. You can catch a lot of different types that are probably over leveled for you as well.
Earlier.
But that's as far as I've gotten because honestly, I've been experiencing this with my 4-year-old son, and he's been the one primarily playing this on docked, so on the big screen, and we've been just going through and saying, "Hey, do we have that one yet? No," or "Yes or no," and just catching. We haven't really dove deep into story or the depths of the game yet, so I can't judge it enough because I'm not that far in it. But it is the same, besides a few tweaks, Pokemon experience we were expecting. So like, I'm not overjoyed with it, but I'm not also disappointed. It's just I got what I expected.
Yeah.
Hey, I hear you.
Rob, though, what do you got for your top 5 from Nintendo?
Well, parting thought from chat on that subject. Redbeard said, for what it's worth, he had fun watching a stream of it, and I think that's another thing that is a big deal for certain games. Is if you can't play it yourself, is it something that you'd be willing to watch someone else play? And that actually brings me to my first pick, which released both on the Switch and PC, and I bought it on both, but I'm going to give it to the Switch because I like the idea of being able to just grab this game and go somewhere with. Heave Ho is one of those games that I would absolutely sit and watch somebody else play. It's just a stupid, ridiculous amount of fun. I think I paid $20 for it, and it was worth every. I got Collection of Mana for my birthday, which was my second pick for Nintendo. I haven't touched it too much, but I'm a huge fan of the franchise, and it's just a collection of the existing games, so I feel like that was kind of a no-brainer. I'm going to skip my next one on the list and circle back to it. Mario Maker 2 is one that we actually played on a stream. And I really love the Mario Maker games, and I felt like Mario Maker 2 pretty much lived up to what it was worth, and or to what we were expecting from it. I think it was absolutely worth putting on this list because they're just great games, a lot of fun. Tetris 99 also released this year. You guys, if you know anything about me, you know that I absolutely adore the Tetris franchise. I'm a huge puzzle game fanatic. So again, Tetris 99 for me was kind of a no-brainer because not only do I get to play Tetris, but I get to prove to the world that I'm good at it by beating the crap out of 98 other people while I do it. And then absolutely not surprisingly, and I say not surprisingly because you're going to hear it again in a minute. Okay, that's true. The chat, Not So Silent Bob, says technically you spent $40 on Heave Ho. He's not wrong because it was $20 on each platform, and I bought it twice. That's how much I love the game.
He also called you
but my
rude
final,
ass.
He did, but I'm not going to address that because fight fire with fire. Be rude to people who call you rude. I don't know. I got nothing. Luigi's Mansion 3 also for me is on this list. And speaking of whether or not we've played games, I actually just finished Luigi's Mansion 3 yesterday.
Oh, dang. Good
And
ending.
again, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. I did not play 1 or 2, not for any particular intent. I just never got around to them when they were relevant. And I got 3 also for my birthday. And I played pretty much the entire game co-op, and it was a tremendous amount of fun. Luigi's Mansion, I think, has been the best money I've spent on the Switch. The best money I would have spent, I should say, because I didn't buy it myself, obviously, on any Switch game so far.
Well, there you go.
Those are, I mean, Heave Ho I've yet to play. Seen yours.
We will fix that.
We will. I've seen your stream, obviously. If anyone wants to check it out, we archive everything on our YouTube channel, which you can find by searching on YouTube for Dose of Nerd Acumen. Do that because there are over 500 archive videos available now at your fingertips. So you should really click that sub button and check out our content. We've put a lot of time and heart into what we do. Collection of Mana, it's one that I've obviously played those games in the past. I love getting collections, so I support Switch doing this with specific games. Collection of Mana being one of them. It'd be one that I'll end up picking up at some point. It was on sale for Black Friday, I think, for $19, which is not bad at all. I did not get it. I'll talk about two games I did get for Black Friday, though, later on in the show. Luigi's Mansion 3, I'm going to be in 100% again agreeance in that. Tetris 99 was one I almost put in my list. I did not, though. And Mario Maker 2 also was one that I almost put in my list. I did not. Tetris 99 we did a weekly dosage of, as well as Mario Maker 2, so check that out as well in our archives. Here are my top 5, though, for Nintendo Switch in no specific order, and you may be surprised at my list, because it was the toughest top 5 I had to make. The others, it was more tough to come up with 5. This, I had to remove games. Sony and Xbox, I had to come up with 5, and that was tough. Yoshi's Crafted World. I was waiting for this game right around the launch of the Switch because it was one of the early announcements, and I just have loved the Yoshi games over the years, even when he had Crying Baby Mario. There's just been something special about the Yoshi games. I don't know if it's the simple charm and art style of it all, as well as it was one of the very first games I played with my son, like the one that he could pick up a controller and play himself. So this game will always hold a special place for me, from here out. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, we also played on a stream. Ultimate Alliance 3, that is. This was not, praised highly. It was just an average game that came out from everything I'd seen. But for some reason, arcade beat-em-ups and Marvel, you combine those, and then the Ultimate Alliance franchise, making its finally returning exclusive to the Switch for now. I had such a great time, with this one. My next one, Link's Awakening. I don't know if either of you have played this yet or have it on your radar, but I heavily recommend it. And let's see, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Shocker.
Right. Had a great time with that one. I have not finished it yet. I've been going floor by floor, and this is another one I've been playing a lot with my son. As you notice, that's becoming a trend here, because my free time to game is now with my son, because he's starting to really get into gaming, which is awesome.
You should.
Go ahead.
You should have started this list out by telling us to get some Kleenex before you get all, sappy with us. I'm starting to cry a little bit thinking about, such great moments of gaming with a little one.
No, I mean, it really is, because this will be this year in particular will be a special year, going forward, because hopefully he'll stay connected with gaming, as it's been so important in my life. If not, that's fine. I'm not going to be upset about it. He's going to have his freedom to do what he wants. But the fact that we're cherishing these same things is really cool. I talked about removing games from my list. Tetris 99 was one of them. Mario Maker 2 was another one. And last minute decision was to remove Pokemon Sword and insert Smash. Because honestly, as I mentioned, Pokemon is fantastic. It is what I expected. Smash Ultimate exceeded expectations, and you can see that in our weekly dosage episode that we did 1 year ago when that came out, because we had a blast with it. And honestly, it's my one of my most played, because you can sort this on the Switch for those that don't know. In your games library, you can sort by playtime, and it's one of the most top played games in my library collection is Smash Ultimate, because it is that good.
It is very good. I agree.
So, like I said, no specific order there. Those are my... I got a burp, sorry. My top 5 games on the Nintendo. I'm drinking Coca-Cola. That makes me burp.
My question to you, though, Travis, and I didn't want to jump in because you got very sentimental, and very honestly, my heart grew bigger as you told the story about you and the kiddo playing the Yoshi game. But the reason that I didn't pick up the Yoshi game is because I played Yoshi's Woolly World on 3DS, and I viewed that as almost the exact same game, very similar, if not,
It's
and
not though. It's so different, and you're missing out honestly with Craft World. Do you collect Amiibo by chance?
I do not at all.
I didn't, and then last year for Christmas I asked for a few because I liked them for the craft of them, not so much the in-game functionality for a lot of the games. I just wanted like a Pikachu. I wanted a few of the Link, and then I got one. I'm trying to remember what game it was. I think it was the remaster of Twilight Princess for the Wii U that I got.
Link.
Yes, I got that one, and that I didn't want to open it, and then I did for some reason, and that's kind of what sparked my, hey, I want a couple now. I haven't gotten any since, so I'm not like having this weird urge to go collect Amiibo, because honestly, the functionality for the game stuff is not like amazing.
It's not worth buying them explicitly for that.
No, at a $12 to $15 price point, and then more for the rare ones, and of course the ones that you want are the rare ones.
Yeah.
I think I have 6 or 7 in total, and they're cool, but like I got them for the pure like, hey, I want this on my shelf because I love these iconic figures. Like I think I have Jigglypuff as well, because if anyone knows about my Pokemon, Jigglypuff and Pikachu are my main, and Smash as well. So those are things that you learn about me.
Yeah, I think we bought Alex probably around 20 or so by now, for various different reasons. He wants them because they're cool action figures. I think I've got somewhere around 10 or 12, but most of them were specific things. Like I bought the 3-pack for Mario Odyssey that had Mario, Peach, and Bowser in the wedding outfits, because I thought those were really cool.
Yeah. Those are cool.
And then I bought several of the oh my god, Breath of the Wild ones. So like I've got the jumping bow and arrow Link, I've got Link on horseback, I've got Zelda, I've got the Guardian and a Moblin, and I periodically borrow Alex's Wolf Link because somebody gave him that as a gift.
I have 2. I have one that just came with my 3DS Chibi Roby Zip Dash.
Oh, nice.
Game. I did use that for its functionality, but it just came with the game. And then I bought Jessica a Animal Crossing one, just as like a little. Hey yo! But I don't think I've ever even used that one for anything. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up because that was my point. I already played it, and as I talked about in another podcast, I struggled to play tons of games in general, and so I felt like I had already experienced the Yoshi kind of crafty yarny stuff. I thought it was nothing to worry too much to get into, knowing that there's tons of other games to try and play. So that was just my point there.
Yeah, no worries. My final thought is do yourself a solid, and if you see it at an affordable price point for you, pick it up. It's definitely worth having your collection.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good point. Is that anytime you see a game, you're like, ooh, I wish I would have played that. But if you see it at a on a sale or as a used one at GameStop or whatever, I think that's always a smart idea.
Because I'll compare it to a previous year's Kirby game that, shout out to Kevin, he didn't really care for it after getting it because of the simplicity of it. You're going to experience a similar approach in this one. It's not all too incredibly challenging other than going 100% for collectibles. I want to give a shout out to Chet too before we go way too far ahead. Small says that he has more than 20 in regards to the Amiibos. And Alex, let's see, Redbeard said, I have the Loot Goblin on his desk at work. I also have the Loot Goblin. I got that because I am a big fan of Diablo, and I actually bought it for the 14th time on the Switch. Not 14th time, but it seems like it. What's up, Henry, in chat with us? And I think that's it. Guardians, Kevin. Hi, Henry. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to chat along with us,
I also have the 4 Guardians.
Oh, do you? If you want to join us during a live recording on Twitch, do so. We do this generally on Sunday nights. No specific time, usually after 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can be part of the chat if you're wondering what we're randomly discussing here with feedback.
Stay tuned because we're looking at options of live kind of call-ins, surprise guests, and so that could be you. If that sounds fun, if we sound fun, you could also sound fun.
I do want to do that. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah,
What I
I'm
do want to
excited.
do, though, is I want to hear your guys' top 5 from Sony, which they put out a little thing called the PS4.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What you got, Rob?
I'm gonna start off because I'm at the top of the list this time. Um, so I'm gonna point out that I didn't actually get to 5, and I didn't realize that till just now.
That's okay.
Because I strictly adhered to games that I have been playing.
Well, not all of us break the rules, but okay.
Somebody's got to hold the line, Caleb.
That's true. That's true.
And speaking of holding the line, Days Gone,
Yes.
holding the line for humanity, came out earlier this year. I actually really, really enjoyed it. It did not get reviewed very well, at least not at first. I don't know what it's sitting at now, but I actually had a lot of fun with it. It was a little bit glitchy, but it was a lot of fun to play. Um, I also have the Division 2, which I know definitely got a lot of flack, and a lot of people said that it was basically just more of the same, but that's exactly what I wanted. I loved everything about the first game. They took everything that was cool about the first one and expanded on it, put it in a new area. And, they didn't force me to retread where we already were physically in the first game, which was the thing I was really concerned about when they announced the second one. Um, I did just recently sit down and get some time in with the Dark Pictures anthologies, Man of Medan. I only finished the first act so far, but if you played Until Dawn, um, oh, they had another game that I can't remember the name of, um, but it was the same kind of general concept. I highly recommend you check this one out, especially because it is up to 5 player co-op.
Mm.
I use that term loosely. Basically, what happens is at the outset of the game, you input names for each of the different players, instead of player 1, player 2, player 3, etc. And you control characters that are assigned to your player up until the control of that character is passed off, in the same way that Until Dawn would. You play as one character and then it would cut to another character's perspective for the story. It's that same concept, but when it kicks to another character, if that character is assigned to a different player, then it has you hand control over to that player before you resume gameplay. So you
Okay.
don't play at the same time. It's, hot potato style, but um, it definitely allowed the mood to stay just light enough that it wasn't too stressful worrying about who may or may not die, because you could kind of heckle each other while you're doing it, which was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like a good kind of, in-person party game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's a fantastic middle ground for people who have issues with horror games, because you're not stuck in a dark room by yourself with being the only one in direct control of the fate of the character, or
Yeah.
in this case, characters.
Until
You
Dawn
know,
got me. That was a good one.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And so it lightens that load a little bit, and I think it makes it significantly more enjoyable, at least for me. And then the last game on my list, I actually was playing earlier today, was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which, to be honest, when it first came out, people were talking about it as if it was Dark Souls Star Wars Edition. And that kind of immediately turned me off to it, because I appreciate the place that the Dark Souls games have in gaming. But I don't like being punished for playing a video game. So
No.
it kind of put me off on it. And I actually, again, shout out to Kevin in chat here. He bought it for me as a early Christmas present.
Mm.
And it's been a lot of fun so far. Very well acted. The graphics are good. Gameplay is tight. I'm really enjoying the game so far. I think it's got a real shot at being Game of the Year, in general, to be honest with you. And so
Yeah.
that's it. I don't have anything else that I've
Okay,
been
Oh, that's
playing.
it.
I didn't know.
What, because you didn't get 5? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he
Is
didn't
that
know.
what you
I mean, arguably, I could say Borderlands 3. I did play Borderlands 3, and it was on PlayStation 4, but I'm not going to do it because.
No, it's fine. I'm just giving you a hard time.
So that's my top 4.
There we go.
So,
All right,
for one,
Travis.
I didn't even know Man of Medan was even out, to be honest with
It's
you.
been out for a while, man.
I know we talked about it, and then it was just like nothing. Like, I feel like we haven't returned to that conversation at all, and I haven't heard anything on it. The last I want to say I heard about it was right around E3 time, and that's the last time we even talked about it.
Yeah, it released officially on August 30th.
Yeah. Wow. But I mean, I feel like
in
that
fairness, I didn't
happens.
get around to playing it until this weekend, so
Well, sure, and that happens a lot with having a backlog of content. So,
yeah.
My life. Right
and to speak on Jedi Fallen Order, like, I mean, it is very much like a Dark Souls game. It's not that heavy or difficult in that regard, but it's very similar.
Yeah,
So
playstyle is very similar for
yeah,
sure.
I get the feedback from it. I didn't add it to any of my lists, and I have a problem with games that come out in November or December around when we do these, because if they're great, I feel like I have goggles on and I'm in like some honeymoon phase where everything is just so perfect. The game is great. I'm having a good time with it, and I haven't finished it yet, nor has it really sunk in like comparatively to other games. Because when you get a new game,
Yeah.
that's the best thing ever, right? It's the greatest new thing. It's brand new out of packaging. It still has that new game smell. You just installed it, and you're like, yes, this is awesome. But again, the honeymoon period, I have a hard time
Yeah.
holding games like that in high regard. So generally, a lot of my stuff that I like is going to be earlier in the year as it's had time to sink in a little bit of emotion on. Also, the fact that did I play it a lot when it first came out and didn't touch it since kind of thing. So it's what does it hold hooks in me. So here are my top 5 with that in mind for Sony. Again, no specific order. This is a game that no one has talked about, I feel, since it came out. We all begged for it for 14 years or something of that sort. Kingdom Hearts 3. Is it a perfect game? No. The problem I had with it was the fact that the IPs or the prop, what do you want to call it? The films in it, the featured like worlds. I loved the first half because those are the ones that I cared about. As the game goes on, I cared less about the properties. So I started falling out of the game because of that.
It
Same
was
reaction.
just shy of 14 years.
Yeah, see? So,
December of 2005.
and it's all we could talk about for those 14 years. But we finally get it, we play
Yeah.
it, and then nothing. Nothing. Nobody is talking about it. That blows my mind. This was back in January of this year, but it seems like so long ago.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting from chat here a little bit of, it had been so long since everybody, had wanted it that by the time it came out, it was kind of like for a lot of people, like, I don't really care anymore. I've waited too far. It's been too far removed from my life.
Yeah.
Shout out to Silent Bob there.
It's still a contender, though, for my top 5 for Sony. Where I would place it would probably be 5 if I had to rank. But a fantastic game visually. Gameplay is, almost perfect. They've perfected everything that was wrong with the franchise to this date. And it's honestly fun. If you like Disney, if you like anything Square does, this is a game for you. And that's why I put it on my list. Another game that got not a lot of praise, but I loved this game. I still have another one I haven't finished. Days Gone. This one was heavily
I'm
promoted.
clearly with you on that one.
This was heavily promoted, and it came and went. It was another game that was just like, yeah, Sony put everything into the marketing of this game. It was going to be the biggest game. Got delayed, unfortunately, into this year. Came out, was a lot of fun, and just nobody talked about it. And that's weird. But I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's a great zombie game, an open world survival kind of thing. There are things I could nitpick on it, but this isn't a review on Days Gone specifically or any of these games really. But definitely makes my top 5. Go ahead.
Is just, how many times are you going to have Norman Reedus in your top 5 here?
Nah. I mean, only once. He's not in Days Gone.
I guess I just view his character of being on a bike with a leather jacket from
It's
from The Walking Dead.
definitely
Yeah.
influenced by The Walking Dead. There's
Yes,
no
that's, I guess,
denying that.
Yeah, maybe not directly, but
And spoilers, since you spoiled it, I might as well get into that. And this one is, honestly, I'm going to be biased here. There was no denying that I was going to love this game. Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima has had a special place as a developer and game creator in my life for over 20 years now. If you want to really understand my passion for his games, go check out our Metal Gear Solid episode. I don't think I've talked so highly about anything to Rob in my life during an episode as I did with Metal Gear Solid. So there was going to be a complete bias going into Death Stranding and everything that Hideo went through to get to this point. And honestly, the bit I've played, I've enjoyed. Are there going to be complaints about the game? Yes. But what game is truly perfect? Not many. But I've had absolute fun watching people play this and personally playing this, and you can check out that as well and an archive on YouTube. Borderlands 3 is another one I've put a significant amount of time into, both solo and with a group. We do need to get back to doing our Let's Play of that as a group. But Borderlands 3 has been a lot of fun. It met my expectations on what a Borderlands game is and should be, with only a few letdowns. 2 is the best in the franchise, personally. I will fight anyone that says otherwise. 3 had potential, but 2 is the best one. And then a surprising entry on this list, because it returned to what I liked in first-person shooters, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The campaign was incredible, and the online gameplay isn't that terrible. It's somewhat balanced. So I've had a lot of fun with that shooter online. Am I good? No, but I've had a lot of fun with it.
Well, there you go. At least you're honest about it.
Yeah, no, I'll be the first to admit, and I've said many, many times, there's not a game out there that I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to whoop your ass on. Because immediately someone will want to challenge me, and then I'll get showed up, and then,
For me, it's good to hear stuff like that, though, because I feel like for me, personally, I find that I start to lose interest in a lot of those games because of the fact that I'm not good, that I can't compete. So it's good to hear you still enjoy it and like it, even though you're not as necessarily highly competitive on it.
I just like to unlock guns. I think that's fun. It's the RPG fan in me. I like leveling up and unlocking things.
Yeah. Well, speaking of unlocking guns, Borderlands 3 is on my list, and there's tons of guns to quote unquote unlock there. And I've really enjoyed it, and it was kind of my mainstay of video gaming, and right up until Pokemon hit my pocket. And I haven't touched Borderlands since Pokemon came out. But man, I loved it. It didn't feel like a grind. It didn't feel like all this side, usually I hop in and I'll just play the main missions of these kind of open world type games. But it didn't feel like a nuisance to go do all the side missions and kind of, gain more stuff. I for the haunting, the Halloween kind of special thing, I didn't replay the haunt several times like I know a lot of people did to try and get that loot. But for me, I played it once and it was great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed those parts of the games. So for me, I guess we're already on my list. So there you go. Borderlands 3 on my Sony list. Kind of staying with the theme of breaking rules, Star Wars Fallen Order. It's on my list. Haven't played it. Gonna get it for Christmas. Very excited. I think it looks beautiful. And for me, that's sometimes one of the main reasons I play games. So there's that. And I'll kind of go through the last couple here kind of quickly so that the other guys don't yell at me, because I also haven't played them. Control looks like a game that's right up my alley. It's one of the reasons I put on the list is because that it was one of the first games that kind of came out, to my knowledge, and doing a little bit more research, that supported ray tracing, which people who have been listening and following DNA know that I'm a big kind of nerd and tech nerd over stuff like that. And so ray tracing is some really great technology that super amplifies graphics. So that was exciting to me. And the way I looked at Control was kind of a cross between Dead Space, the way that you can kind of freeze things, and Prey from I don't know if you guys played Prey on PS4. I don't know if it was on multiple platforms, but
it's on Xbox One as well.
There you go. So it looked like a cross between those games. So that's a game that I was and probably still am excited about to get into at some point in time. Outer Worlds, another game I got on my list, hoping to play it. I'm going to mention it. Don't yell at me. And then and then Jump Force, because I think it's cool to see those anime characters come into this gaming world that we can then fight with against each other, kind of cross-platforming the different genres there. So
yeah, I watched. Speaking of Jump Force, I watched a little bit of that on E3. That definitely intrigued me. It's not one that I normally would be like excited about, but that's one that looked really cool at E3. And Outer Worlds, that should be very high up for knowing what you enjoy to games. That should be high up on your list for wanting to get.
I thoroughly enjoyed my time in Fallout, and so I'm excited to get into something that's very Fallout-esque, the way that we were kind of hoping the next one could have been. So. But yeah, that's my list. Sorry for breaking the rules, but actually, # not sorry.
Nah, I think they're worthy ads, because honestly, knowing you and your interests, they would have been there anyways. So.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Top 5 Xbox. This is one that I usually, out of the people here in DNA, I know Nintendo is the one I hold, at least until Caleb joined us full time. One of the consoles that I held dear in my heart, but Xbox. out of everyone here is probably the one that I hold the highest then, because I think Caleb beats me with the Nintendo love.
Yeah, maybe just a little
Only
bit.
by a little bit, but
Yeah, not much at all. It's kind of unfair that you have a kid because that's helping you with the Nintendo love. So
it is, and honestly, the Switch is the highest played console for me this year. So that's again why my list was higher
yeah.
than these other ones. I had to
Should we,
reach.
since you have such a high love and interest in Xbox, any interest in letting you go last and letting get our puny little list out of the way?
We can switch it around. Let's do it. Rob, you
Yeah,
want to kick
so
it off?
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
With my super extensive long list.
Yep.
Are you guys ready for this really, really long conversation?
Yep.
Gears of War 5.
Okay, end the conversation.
Boom.
That's my whole list. Unfortunately, this year has actually not been very kind to my Xbox in this regard. The only other game that's actually made its way in there of my accord was shout out to Travis here. He bought me a copy of WWE 2K20 as a birthday present before we knew what a disaster the game was going to turn out to be. And so I've popped the game into the system long enough to start my Creative Wrestler, and that's it. And that's why I didn't even include it on the list for even that honorable mention. But Gears of War 5 was one that we actually did a pretty lengthy stream on, Travis and I, where we did a little bit of co-op along with just some other randos. We did a full
Horde.
run, what is it, 40 rounds
50.
of the Horde
we
mode?
did 50 waves of Horde mode.
50.
Yeah.
And we
Okay,
made
you
it
don't
through
gotta-
all 50.
You don't got to brag.
First
okay.
try.
We just had to flex a little there. But no, so like I actually enjoyed Gears of War 5. I like the franchise as a whole. But unfortunately, like I said, the Xbox has not gotten a whole lot of use. And you know what I blame that on is something that we talked about in a previous stream probably last year. Maybe it was earlier this year. It had to be earlier this year. Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
Ever since they rolled out Game Pass Ultimate and I just expanded my Game Pass subscription to also work on my PC, I paid a stupid amount of money for a gaming PC, and so most of the stuff that I wanted to play on Xbox was also on PC, so I just played it there instead. So that's I'm not in any way trying to poop on the Xbox or anything like that. Like I said, I really enjoyed Gears of War 5. It just is unfortunately the only game this year that I've Gears. So
Well, I can top you on that, Rob. I have played 0 games on Xbox this year. I don't have one. I'm trying to. My brother somehow has. I'm trying to get him to give me one. I don't. It's a whole thing. His wife's not happy. I'm trying to help him. Blah blah blah. Hopefully they're not listening. That could be awkward. But also hopefully they are listening. #views. I did put one on the list, but really it's just my way of kind of sneaking some nostalgia in here. I found a game that's not Xbox exclusive, but I wanted to get it somewhere. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. It's an old Power Rangers kind of, like you said, arcade fighting game. And boy, I really loved games like this when I had like my Sega Genesis. And so to see that this is a game out there, I'm kind of like, drooling over it when I was doing some research the past couple weeks. And so it's just a game. I don't know a whole lot about it. I did research, and it sounds like the original cast of the Power Rangers TV show is voicing the characters again. So that's kind of super cool. But other than that, yeah, just a small random game.
So there were 2 Power Rangers games in the last couple years that came out. There was a beat 'em up one that had like sound effects and original voice stuff from the original series. And then there was the fighting game, the arcade fighter, that came out around E3 time this summer. I always get them mixed up what they're titled. But the arcade fighter also had, this is a question, I guess. The arcade fighter also had voiceover and like sound bites and stuff.
That's what it looks like from what I looked into. This is the arcade fighter. The health bars on both the dudes on the sides are fighting. And yeah, from the research I looked up, it has the original Rangers voicing their own voices. But it could just be stealing snippets, but also it could just be having them record.
Because I know that's what the beat 'em up one did. It stole sound bites from the show.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, and it almost, not enough to actually spend the $15, but almost made me purchase it. Because I absolutely love Power Rangers. I loved it so much that I got the magazine growing up, and I was made fun of through elementary school for liking Power Rangers. Because apparently between 3rd and 5th grade, you're not cool if you like Power Rangers.
Well, how you stop people from making fun of you is when you become the Red Ranger for a short period in your life. I wore the Red Ranger costume everywhere I went. I wouldn't take it off. There was a kid in the neighborhood bullying my cousin. I went and beating him up in my costume. I was the Red Ranger, and you couldn't stop me.
Like for the original franchise?
Yeah.
And see, you're a little bit younger than me, so I felt like it was probably a little bit more acceptable for you to do that.
To wear a Red Ranger suit everywhere I went.
Like fifth grade, like you're starting to mature a little bit. People are changing, and like I feel like Power Rangers, that wasn't that cool at that time,
So, like I said, still cheating. Wanted to throw it out there because it looked like a fun game that I would have enjoyed, and I'm sure I will if I ever get a chance to.
Yeah, definitely. It's one, if it was ever like super cheap, I'd pick up.
Talk about flexing over here. Deaf Boy in the chat has a Red Ranger and a Green Ranger helmet. Super jealous. I've seen a lot of really cool replicas out there.
Yeah.
Wish I could get me some of those.
When we were in Chicago, they had a couple on sale there. We were actually talking about that. Shout out to Henry. We were at a GameStop and we saw some of the cool things, including a helmet, which made me very excited because I wanted to buy one, but not for the $79 price point. I was like, I don't need one that bad. Plus, my wife was staring at me, so I was like,
just use the company card next time.
Let's use the company card. No. We have a company card? I didn't even know that.
Well, we'll tell you later.
Interesting. So my top 5, I actually have 5 because, again, I play the Xbox. A game that I was very excited and eagerly anticipating, and now because it did so well, there's rumor that a third is coming. And a third, I mean the Resident Evil 3 remaster. There's rumor of that. So Resident Evil 2 came out earlier this year, and I've had a blast with it. It looks amazing, it plays amazing, and it captures all those original scares and fun that the first one had on the PS1 back many years ago when I played it. So a game
I've heard a lot of great things about that one.
Yeah, like you should really play it. It's really good. Especially if you like horror stuff, you need to play this one.
Yeah, some of my friends we would watch. My other buddy, we all lived in a house with like 6 guys. That's a whole story of itself. But we would sit and watch my one friend play all the Dead Space games, and it was the enjoyment of us watching and getting scared all together. And so he's like, "Yeah, we gotta get together and play this game." I said, "Yeah, I agree. We'll watch you play it. It'll be fun."
See, that's what we need to do more of. I need to convince Rob to like scary stuff, or at least watch. I think he's more inclined
What
to
did I
do
just
that.
say? I just said I was playing Man of Medan.
Yeah, I know, but even then, like, I don't know. So my next one, it's not a great game by any means. It came and went. The only reason I was so excited to play it is because it was day one, Game Pass. I say free, but it's not free because you pay for Game Pass. But it's free-ish, if you will. It's part of the service that you're paying for. Crackdown 3. Crackdown 2 was not great. Crackdown 3 was even less of not great. But there's something about collecting those damn orbs and going around town and just being able to jump real high and have superpowers in a sandbox game that is oddly satisfying. I had an itch to go in an open world and collect things and just beat people up and shoot guns. And that, it found that cure for that itch at the time.
For sure.
I played through it and... Go ahead.
I watched a buddy play it, and basically we would take turns. He did pass the controller back and forth, so I guess technically I played a minute and a half of Crackdown 3, but we would see who could throw bodies the farthest. That was the most fun thing we could come up with.
Henry in chat says Crackdown 3 was a dumpster fire. No, WWE 2K20 was a dumpster fire. Crackdown 3 worked.
Travis, did you get hashtag $12 worth out of it though?
I did get hashtag $12 worth out of it. Crackdown was the one with that. What was that one dude's name?
That would be anyone else?
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
Yeah. And you can play as him, and I did play as him because his one-liners were incredible.
To me, that was definitely a big draw of being in that game.
So I had fun again. Crackdown 3. If you have Game Pass, play it because it's worth playing. I played it over the course, I think, one weekend all the way through, near 100%ing it, minus collecting all the orbs. I got majority, but not all because it was like a ridiculous amount. But I had fun with it, and honestly, it's worth a playthrough. If you played Crackdown, any of the other ones, well, other 2 in existence, just play this one. You're going to get the same experience, and if you have Game Pass, just play it, and then move on. The same could be said for this next game, but I had such a fun time streaming this one that I had to put on my list because it was a great game that I felt exceeded my expectations from what I even thought it could be at E3 this year. And that was Blair Witch. That was another one that was available day one on Game Pass. and I did a single sit-down, which is one of the very few games that I've done in my time, single sit-down playthrough of Blair Witch from start to finish on stream. Check it on our archives. Again, another shout out to our YouTube channel. Please do yourself a favor and check out some of these games, or all of them, because you really should. But Blair Witch was a lot of fun. I loved all the films. I love horror, and I thought this was a really cool, not perfect, but a really cool horror game. And again, I had a lot of fun with it. Gears 5 was acknowledged. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, definitely a name that draws and turns heads. I feel like, it was such obviously a classic film that came kind of out of nowhere, such low budget, that did very well. I think it's just a name that draws attention to it. So I think that's it was cool to see that come out.
Yeah, it's very recognizable, and I think they wanted to use that to capitalize and sell a game. And like I said, I'm not disappointed that I played it. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, $12 worth for sure.
$12 worth. Hashtag. Next one is Gears 5, which Rob talked about. I'm not going to dive too far deep into detail on it. If you're interested to see what we did, check that out as well. But Gears 5, continuing strong with this franchise. It's still one that is doing very well, even with a new company over the last couple entries taking over the helms of it. I think Gears 5 is fantastic, and I look forward to continuing to play that and, chainsawing people in half. That is also one I got my son to play. Chainsaw somebody in half. I'm a terrible father. Hashtag
CPS people in chat, right? Okay.
Right. Hashtag father of the year for me. I had all these nice memories, like Yoshi. He played Yoshi. He played this. He also played Gears of 5, ladies and gentlemen. He's 4. Oops.
Well, it's just teaching him a little bit about life.
A little too much. I may have messed up on that one. Hey, no one's
What
perfect.
you didn't mess up on was your last entry here. What do you got?
Outer Worlds. So it's another one that we talked about a little bit. If you like Fallout type gameplay and missions and fetch quests and stuff, Outer Worlds is definitely up your alley. It's another one that's not a perfect game, but it is a lot of fun. So those are my highlights for Xbox for 2019. No specific order. Let's talk about our top 5 for PC. I'll kick it off. I don't have any. What do you guys have?
There you go. I'm going to go next, since Rob actually has played a bunch more PC games that came out this year than I did. I did get a small little taste. I watched more of it than anything, but I did get a small little taste of Beat Saber. I think that World of VR may be one of the cooler versions of it, to use the idea of those kind of musical, on beat type games with a lightsaber kind of feel. Was definitely fun, and I think that's taking those VR games in the right direction.
It's definitely on my list of to gets. I want that game pretty badly, to be honest with you.
I just want to watch you play it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most fun part, right? Is watching people almost trip and fall.
I mean, I'm that's part of the problem is I'm struggling between buying an Oculus for my PC and starting to get stuff on there, or if I just want to reinvest in the VR. And if I'm going to reinvest in the VR, do I just wait till next gen because they're launching a new one for the PS5?
Yeah, I think
so I don't know what to do.
The bang for my buck lies in like the Oculus Quest. The solo. You don't need a PC. It still gets you in there. I don't think that VR is ready for full-fledged hundreds of hours of gameplay because you're just going to go sick. But yeah, I think that for me, it's getting a cheaper version. Like I said, like the Quest, still good quality. You don't need a lot of extra peripherals, but not by any means super cheap, but cheaper than some other things.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well then, I guess I'll take over from here. I'm just actually going to go with my first pick on the list because it bridges directly back to your last one on the Xbox, Outer Worlds. And this stems from what I was saying earlier. You played it on Xbox, I played it on PC. Why? Because it was on Game Pass, so I could play it on PC. There's not really a ton to say about it, man. If you liked, especially Fallout New Vegas, if you like those types of games, check out Outer Worlds. It's a stupid amount of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to skip over my next one because I'm going to explain that one a little bit more thoroughly. Out of Space is another one of those. I've been calling them dumb games simply because there's no real depth to them. It's totally just a sit-down couch co-op game. and it was a tremendous amount of fun that I was able to have without any real heavy investment in it. There's no lore to learn, there's no characters to learn. You have like a 20-minute to a half an hour level where you just go in and hit whatever the objectives are, and then you're done with that level. And that's all there is to it. And so I had a whole lot of fun playing that with people.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely something to be said about the simplicity of games. Sometimes games just get too far in depth, and that's when I feel like me personally, I get so strained on what game to play or how long to play or how deep to go into it. I definitely feel like the world's in need of some more great games like that are just simple. Hop in, get a little bit of stuff done, get your $12 worth, and get out.
Absolutely, and I more than got my $12 worth out of that game. Technically, it's still in early access, so I hesitated on putting it on the list, but I bought it this year. I played it this year. It quote unquote debuted this year, so
Still counts.
whatever. I did it. See, I rode the line on that one, Caleb. Do you feel
break
better?
the rules. Wow.
Just a little, just a little. And here's my next one is a technical break of the rules because while I played it on PC, this game is not available through Steam, which is what everyone usually thinks of when you say play it on PC. Untitled Goose Game, which is another one of those kind of dumb games. If you haven't seen anything on it, I will be doing a playthrough on our channel. So hang out and I'll do that sometime soon. But do yourself a favor and absolutely check this game out. It is also available on the Nintendo Switch right now. I personally picked it up on the Epic Game Store because, again, I wanted to play it on my PC. But you play a goose and you cause mayhem, and if that doesn't sound awesome, I don't know why you're playing video games. But then my last game I'm going to talk about
Hold on. Matt says Bob has Untitled Goose Game as Rob's favorite game of the ever. I'm going to go ahead and agree with that.
It is pretty phenomenal. It may or may not be in my top 5 for game of the year overall.
I just want to get there. Okay, go ahead.
But yes, it's a tremendous amount of fun. But my last game that I picked for PC, again, sort of breaks the rules because it's The Messenger, which actually did not come out this year. But what did come out this year was the expansion called Picnic Panic, which was so fully formed that it was almost a whole game unto itself. It's not quite as long as the base game that it's attached to, but anything that gets me more of The Messenger is totally Game of the Year material in my book. And if you want to see any of The Messenger, I did do several videos for that, which you can catch over on our YouTube. But The Messenger is a love letter to 8-bit and 16-bit Metroidvania exploration adventure games. I can't recommend that one enough either. It's so good. But those last two, so much worth every penny. Untitled Goose Game and The Messenger, so much fun.
Absolutely. Stupid fun, as in like kind of stupid silly and also fun.
Yes, absolutely.
I've heard nothing but positive things of Goose Game. I listen to several podcasts myself, and usually every episode or every other episode, that game comes up in conversation.
Yeah, as it should. It's so good.
It's going wild right now. I agree.
So that's what I got for PC. I could go deeper on some of these, but like I said, The Messenger was just an expansion. We already talked about Outer Worlds. Out of Space, there's not much to talk about, and Goose Game, while there's a lot to do, there's not a lot of depth. So I think we just roll right on to our top 5 mobile games. Are you guys ready to get hunkered down in here? I mean, this is going to take a while.
If you're listening live right now, go ahead and go to the cafeteria, run to the kitchen, get yourself a couple of drinks because we're going to be in this section for a while.
Yeah, if you're on the highway, pull over, put your hazards on because you really need to get ready for this one.
It's time.
My top on mobile, Mario Kart. That's it. Honestly, though, if I was going to add another one, the Walking Dead game, or not Walking Dead, excuse me, Zombieland put out a game. It's one of those Tapper games. I play that on the daily. There's nothing to it, so I can't even really highlight it. But Mario Kart,
You do love it.
I do love my tapping games. It all started with Cookie Clicker, damn it.
I know.
Ugh.
We've ruined a lot of kids' scores and Cookie Clicker at work by shutting the game down. So there's
Oh.
that. I'm the evil genius.
Anyways,
Rob, what do you got
that's
for
all
your
I got.
mobile game?
The only thing that I played that actually came out this year was Dr. Mario World, and I know Travis has some feelings on it, but I liked it. I thought it was a nice new twist on Dr. Mario, and as we discussed earlier on, I love me some puzzle games, man. So
Yeah.
that's what I got. I got
Yeah,
some Dr.
flex a little
Mario World
Tetris
for you.
code. I see it. All right, mine's gonna be, I guess, more unique. I'm not even sure if you guys are familiar or heard of this game. I do often try to go to the Play Store or wherever I'm at and just kind of look at what's new and try. I do try a lot of mobile games out throughout the year. I have a games folder that it's ever changing on my phone. This one stayed around for a while, and I did look it up. I'm 95% sure it came out this year. It's called Zuba, Zoob as in boy, Zuba. It's basically a top-down battle royale, super kind of kid-friendly graphics. You play as different animals that you unlock as you go that have different kind of special abilities. So you have basically 4 ways of hitting somebody: your special ability, a spear, a grenade, and a shotgun. And so you just kind of scroll around. Kind of, you have to pick up the different things and avoid the circle as it encloses. You can stay hidden in some grass, or you can be out open in the field. And it's just kind of battle royale versus not always 100, because it's not a very popular game yet, but versus a mass amount of people trying to be the last one left. And I've kind of enjoyed that one. I still think that just gaming on mobile is hard for games like that aren't tappers, that aren't kind of one finger games, because then your hands are in the way. And I don't really want to buy a Bluetooth controller just to play on my phone. So, but this game still is so simple that I don't find myself getting frustrated with on-screen controls.
Don't you have a PlayStation 4? So
You can use your DualShock 4 on your mobile phone, sir.
Yeah, but I'm not going to carry a DualShock 4 with me everywhere I go.
Why not?
I don't have
Where's
a
your
belt
gamer pride, Caleb?
holster. You
Right.
get me a belt holster, a little clip.
There was another game that
You
I
gotta
forgot
get like
about. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you gotta get like a utility belt like Batman and just keep a controller in it.
I mean, I think that'd be cool, especially since it lights up. It's a fashion statement. There's a game that I forgot about that kind of came and went for me. I had a lot of fun in the first couple weeks, and then it's the problem I have with mobile games. They don't hold my attention as long. I move on to other things, and they usually take up a significant amount of space. Gears Pop came out, and that was fun. And then again, it came and went.
I totally forgot about that.
I don't even know if I know that one.
Yeah, it came out in September, alongside the release of Gears.
Is it like Gears Pop, as in like Pop Funko? Yeah.
Yeah, they're the Pop Funko character designs, and then it's like the what is that game? Clash Royale.
Yeah, I see it.
That kind of where you on opposing sides and you have to send troops across the board.
Interesting.
It's fun. It's fine. It's just one of those things like it's the same, and it just didn't hold my attention because I had already played the Royale game for probably tens of 20s of 30s of hours before this one came out, and it was like, oh, it's a clone, cool. So again, it was fine. It was Gears. It was cool, but it's just a reskin of things that are already popular, and that's the problem I have with trends in gaming. Where if you're trying to copy, it's the problem I had with Battle Royale as a genre in general, right? They don't hold my attention after I've already put my time into one. When the next one comes out, I'm like, okay, this is just a different version of the thing I've already played, and I'm already bored with it because of that. So that's why I don't like copycats. Sure.
I think while we're on the topic of Royales, it's a game that I had on a couple of my lists, and they kind of got booted out as I kind of rethinking of more. It's a game that I think did really well, and I did enjoy it while I played it, but it falls along the same lines like you said. It's just another Battle Royale, and it's just as they come and go, you kind of enjoy it while it's there, and then it's gone. As it was Apex Legends. I think it's a really good game. I kind of like it better than Fortnite and those other styles. it was definitely interesting, the ability to have different characters and kind of the more realistic graphics, but not like PUBG realistic, because wasn't a big fan. But yeah, I think that's another game that's worth of a mention, of being out there, because I think it did really well. I think it's still actually doing really well.
No, I agree. That's a great example. I would use that as well. Is one that I played, I downloaded, I was excited to try it out because for one, it's free.
Absolutely.
But then it was like, okay, I've done this grind before. Do I really care about these new characters? Do I really care about this game? And I didn't, so I moved on from it.
Yep.
Let's segue that into, this is a great segue. Biggest letdowns for this year. Rob, you don't have anything written down.
I don't, because I know, like, as an example, there's a couple of games that both of you guys have on here that I know everyone expect me to say. But I can't really call WWE 2K20 a letdown for me because I wasn't expecting anything out of it. I wasn't even expecting to get it. Had you not gotten it for me for my birthday, I don't know that I would have bought it anytime soon. And I haven't done anything with it but the Creator Wrestler. So far, it's not a letdown for me.
Try doing anything else, it will be.
Well, and if that happens, then maybe I'll have to revisit my opinion on the subject. But
try building a roster of 100 people to do a show twice a week.
Yeah, right. But so the two games that I definitely played this year that I think a lot of people would have expected to hear on this list would have been Division 2 and Anthem.
Mm-hmm.
And Division 2, because despite having a lot of really positive despite having a lot of really positive reviews when it first came out, it kind of got trashed a lot afterwards. Again, like I said earlier, for being more of the same. And I didn't have that problem. I feel I more than got my money's worth out of Division 2 and Anthem as well. The game is extremely buggy. There's, especially at this point, kind of a dearth of content. There's not really anything left to do.
Yeah.
But I feel like I got my money's worth and then some. Do I still occasionally want to go back and play it again? Absolutely. The only thing that stops me from doing that is that I don't want to play it by myself and nobody else wants to go back with me.
Yeah.
Especially they added the the Sunken Citadel, the underwater raid area. No, not raid area, but big dungeon. And it was absolutely gorgeous. The puzzles were cool. The boss arena was phenomenal. The boss itself was very, don't you call Kevin over here in the chat saying he said he would play it with me and calling me a liar. And the last two times I mentioned it, when I was like, hey, let's play Anthem, like everybody was like, no, including him. So, with your rude ass, calm down. But that's my story. That's why I have no games in my letdown. I feel like everything that I bought this year and played, I actually got my money's worth out of. I wasn't really let down by anything, to be honest with you.
Well, and I feel like I can speak personally. I'm jealous that you weren't let down. I'm jealous that you got the games that you wanted to get and got games you weren't even expecting and enjoyed them all the way that you were planning on enjoying them. My list is short. One's kind of staying with my theme, a little bit of a cheat. I didn't play Anthem, but I was deterred from it based off everything that I had heard. I guess that's poo-poo on me for not even giving it a shot, but it's a game that I was very excited about, and then just kind of fell to the wayside. So I don't know a whole lot about it because I just kind of gave up on it. But then the really bigger one is that I had on my phone was Mario Kart Mobile, and I was not a fan. One of the biggest things was just the controls. It just seemed backwards, and when I had it on my phone, I didn't find a way to fix those controls easily, and so not a big fan of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I'll pick up where you left off with that Mario Kart. I was so excited. I'm like, visually, this looks incredible.
Looked amazing.
And I'm like, I love Mario Kart. And just, I even said it was my top mobile. But at the same time, it was a letdown because it's one of those things. And it's why I'm bringing back up the honeymoon thing again. I was all about it, playing daily, playing until I couldn't earn any more things on the daily, where it said that, come back tomorrow to earn more. You can still continue to race, but you just ain't earning anything because you've been playing for 45 hours and 24 hours because you won't put it down. It was that good, but then I was like, what am I doing? Why do I care? and it just became this weird like grind of these short racetracks, and I don't know. I don't know what I wanted for Mario Kart on my mobile phone. Did I want Mario Kart 8, on my mobile? But why don't I just bring my Switch with me then?
That's true.
So it was one of those things like I don't know if my expectations were higher or did I make it my own letdown. So most likely that sounds more likely than anything because it's fine. The game is fine. It's just I don't know what I expected out of it. Also with that, I had high expectations for Dr. Mario on mobile. I don't know if I wanted like a full-blown Dr. Mario game that I didn't get. Instead, I got this Candy Crush ripoff of a game where it told me to spend money to continue playing or I had to wait. That's stupid. And it's why I stopped playing Candy Crush. Because it's stupid. I'm not spending money on this stuff. It was the same problem I had with Pokemon Go when that came out. I'm not spending money to keep playing a free game. It's stupid. And the fact that it's grossing millions, if not billions, of a free game, y'all are stupid.
Nintendo is not dumb. I was very excited to hear when they were saying they were going to go for the mobile market and start producing games. It's still exciting to see Mario on my phone screen looking good, playing well, relatively well. But I agree. The pay to play through a free game seems like a bit of a scapegoat to make money. But boy, you can't deny the fact that they're smart. They know what they're doing.
Oh, they know exactly what they're doing. I can't fault them for that because honestly, the reason it's a free game is because people are dumb enough to pay money for a free game to keep playing. And that's fine. Y'all can fund the game for me to keep it free. So thank you for that in that regard.
Yeah,
but,
hashtag you're 12, not mine.
Right, you're $12, not mine. I don't know. Things like that, I can't. I don't know. It's $1 here, $1 there. What does it really matter, right? What you spend your money on is none of my business. But at the same time, I have my own opinions on it, and I'm very usually vocal about it. But Nintendo games on mobile devices have been fine. I played Animal Crossing for a while, and that was fine. But ultimately, I think what I want is just more of these games on consoles. And I keep wishing those experiences on my mobile device, and they're not delivering that experience. Because, again, it's a mobile device. It's not a console or a handheld console. So I think that's ultimately why I'm let down with these games, because I have higher expectations than I should have. So it's my own fault.
Yeah.
The obvious. Go ahead.
While you're heated about being let down by games, keep going on this list. I'm excited to hear this. The heat proceed as they keep going up the list,
and it will too. The next one is a huge letdown. There's a bigger story behind it too, on why it's a complete disaster, and that's 2K20. There were issues with development towards the end. The creative and developing team wanted to branch off and make another wrestling game in addition to the 2K Games franchise, and ultimately they got fired in doing so. Didn't offer support for their engine, and it had to be built and finalized and shipped ready to receive in the hands of consumers within a couple month time frame, and that's why we have the dumpster fire we have now that basically crashes and looks like hot garbage. And that is, again, 2K20. And again, sorry, Rob, for getting you that game, and it's not my opinions of you getting you a garbage of a game here. So
this is what I think of you and our friend.
You're being basically. So yeah, could 2K20 have been a better game if they just kind of did copy and paste and kept it 19 with an updated roster? Honestly, at this point, I'd be happy with that even, because we are taking a major step back, and it's put a hurdle on what we do on our channel 2 nights a week for our show, because we had full expectations to go forward with transitioning to that game. And it's going to hurt what we're doing, because at some point they're going to shut down the servers for 2K19, meaning I cannot grab character updates and character creations anymore, or upload new images or logos to 19 to keep it going. I would have to keep the same exact roster I have and manually update people for them, which I already don't have time to do, and find a way to keep this thing going until they fix 2K20, or if 21 comes out next October. And by then, what is the show going to look like? And what are we going to be able to do with what we do? So it's one of those things. This could be a breaking point for the fantasy league show that we run 2 nights a week. So this has a multitude of problems personally and professionally. So that's a gripe there. The last one on my list for biggest letdowns was a game going into 2K9 or not. Here we go. I'm still stuck on 2K.
Oh boy!
Jesus,
Oh no!
this is why I'm so mad. See, God, you get me going. You should know better than to do that. You know what really grinds my gears? So going into this year, 2019, which is also technically 2K19, there was a game. I watch many YouTube channels, and there was a list. They always do I love top 10 videos, right? Anything that has top 10 in it. And they were doing, hey, top 10 games to fail into 2019. And on this list was Anthem. And I was like all aboard the hate train for this game. I was like, yeah, this thing is going to be garbage. It's going to be broken. It's not going to be complete. There's going to be problems, blah, 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 going on and on and on and on. And I'm like, all right, I seem to agree with this person. I've watched a bunch of their videos enough to agree with them. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get it. I'm going to skip this one, and I'll be okay with it. It's a late winter game, and I'll have plenty of other things in my backlog to play. Well, I'm part of this group called DNA. Go figure. There are guys who are like, yeah, let's get this new game. It's going to be fun to play together. I'm like, damn it, you guys. And they all talked me into it. I blame all of them because I got the game. And sure, I had some fun moments, but Lord, I should not have gotten this game. Do I regret it?
Yeah.
Not really, but at the same time,
Yeah, you do.
It was a letdown because there was nothing to it. It was my same opinion of what Destiny is, and I don't understand to this day why people like Destiny or Destiny 2 because I can't do that kind of loot grinding. Borderlands is different because it's set up differently. I feel there's more variety and point to what I'm doing, whereas Destiny was just terrible at the stupid grinding. They did not fix it in Destiny 2. And then Anthem was the same thing. I'm just grinding this world, and the terrain was just obnoxious. And, like, what the F was the story? Like, it was just like, I can't. But I played it. I had fun playing with friends, and ultimately that was the experience I enjoyed. Had it not been for that, this would have been just a crap game. That's my biggest letdowns for 2019.
Tell me how you really feel.
That I thoroughly enjoyed your rant there. I hope everyone else enjoyed the rant. Yeah, I think that was a good one. The letdowns. Are we ready to kind of try and dive into our top 5 or top however many we could grab?
I'm ready to end on a positive. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead here. I am going to follow the rules for this one because I think it's only fair to give games that I've actually played, the actual Game of the Year title here. And so these go in this order, specifically for the reasons that I describe thereafter. Borderlands 3, I'm going to start at the bottom. Hashtag awkward, now you know my number 1. Number 3 is Smash Bros. Yeah, it's something we've always wanted. Smash Bros. On the new one. It's been a while since we've had one, and so I think it goes kind of without saying now that we're including it in this list for me that it would crack my top 3 because that's all I've got here. Then Pokemon Sword. If anything, this is just kind of nostalgia on the big screen. I've enjoyed it. I've explained how much I've enjoyed it. I'll probably explain in the next segment still why I enjoy it so much. But it's only at number 2 because it is more nostalgia. It still is a Pokemon game, and it still has similarities with every other Pokemon game. Whereas Borderlands 3, for me, while similar to the other Borderlands games, is give me a bit of a new world, the new characters, the new guns, the new the graphics. To me, I just love those graphics, that style of graphics. I find myself giggling and laughing at Borderlands 3 as I play it. And it's just something that I thoroughly enjoy for multiple reasons. I'm kind of a space first-person shooter nerd. I guess not really nerd over that, but I am a nerd. But that's where games get me, is kind of first-person shooters in the space type field. And so Borderlands 3 is just right up my alley.
I dig it.
Finito. That's my list.
I dig it. That's a positive. See, it's not a rant.
Yep.
Rob, what you got?
Rob?
Well, I got a comment from the chat just to tag along with what you guys were just talking about a moment ago with Pokemon. Raven Knight Trevor said Sword and Shield were great. Played it all weekend at my house. He beat it already.
What? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he finished it Saturday, I think, or maybe even Friday. I'm pretty sure it was Saturday, though.
Do you just power through or do you collect? Because I feel like you'd have to just power
He
through.
may have just powered through. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that has to be powering through.
Yeah.
But
What's the
while we
enjoyment?
wait for his clarification there, um, I don't have mine in any particular order, to be honest with you, and I don't know that I really could put them in any particular order at this point.
And that's okay.
Um, so I'm going to lead off by saying that I also added Smash Brothers to mine. We've gone over a ton of why it deserves a spot now since we missed it last year. Um, it's definitely not my most played game on the Switch by a long shot, but I've loved this franchise for so long, and to have the ability to play as basically everyone that's ever been even, indirectly referenced in the game, almost everyone. Um, it's just been awesome to see the roster be as complete and fully featured and continuing to grow, and I think that's just fantastic. Um, I mentioned earlier in my top five for PlayStation that I've been playing Fallen Order. Um, and I do kind of feel like it's got a real good shot at being Game of the Year in general. Um, maybe this is just the Star Wars fanboy in me that's giving this one such high praise because I'm already at a point where I'm recognizing what annoys me about the gameplay. Um, but I love Star Wars. You know what I mean? So this it's well crafted so far. Obviously, I haven't beaten it yet, but I'm really really enjoying the game. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Um, Outer Worlds is another one I have not gotten anywhere near beating. But on top of having played it, I've read a lot of stuff about it, and so I feel like I'm familiar enough with it to kind of say that when I get that that much farther in the game, I don't feel like my feelings on it are really going to change any. Um, and I really hope Bethesda especially takes a hard look at what worked in Outer Worlds and uses that to kind of course correct their two main franchises. Because Elder Scrolls 6 has to be in development. And if it goes anywhere near where Fallout 76 went, there's going to be riots. So, don't be afraid to learn from your competitors is what I'm saying here. Um, and then my last two both absolutely fall under that worth every penny of the $20 I spent because it was stupid fun. And that's Heave Ho, and as Kevin so eloquently put it earlier, that Goose Game. I freaking love Untitled Goose Game, especially because when I beat it, I was like, oh, that was kind of short. I feel like I got my $20 worth, but that was kind of short. And then the game starts over, and you get a whole new list of things to do to terrorize the people of this town.
That's fun.
Yeah, so it's basically as a new game plus, which just makes it even better because it's not like the difficulty itself really ramps up. I mean, the stuff gets more complicated, but it's not like the game itself gets any harder. There's no hit points, there's no combat. So I don't know. I just I can't rave enough about that Goose Game. Being a dick to pedestrians as a goose is just awesome. And heave ho. I don't think in the last 5 years I've come so close to throwing up from how hard I was laughing at just playing a game as I did with heave ho.
And I feel like
So
that's definitely a stat that people forget about, or I think people forget about, right? Is just that kind of guttural enjoyment where you're out of control, laughter, whether it's just via a smile or like you said, crying, laughing, or crying from your legs laughing, depending on how hard you're laughing. Um,
yeah,
yeah, that's true. That's peeing in case anybody wasn't following my joke. Is that I think people. I think for me, I feel like people forget about wow, I just had so much fun playing that game, regardless if there's something that made you mad about it or something you didn't like about it. And so yeah, for me, I'd like to hear those bits of feedback from both of you guys. And it's been great to listen to those lists.
yeah, I completely agree with you. I feel like that's a factor that just doesn't get addressed enough in reviews anymore because all anybody wants to talk about is, oh, the game is so graphically pleasing except for the hair texture on the character models looks
Exactly.
flat and plastic. And I'm like, who fucking cares? Like, did you have fun? Who cares if the hair is plastic looking?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Travis,
I think
what you got?
I was gonna say, I think it's easy to do for people to kind of get lost in these. I don't want to say basic review attributes and I guess subjects or what do you want to call it? I don't even know how to define it, but
Criteria.
Thank you. And I was guilty of this for a long time as a gamer, and I think the 360 somewhat ruined me for a period of time as a gamer because I became an achievement hunter. I didn't enjoy games for games anymore for a period of time. I became a junkie as far as what my achievement score was and how to obtain these things. I'd go through stupid grinds and just frustratingly, levels of gaming for games I didn't even probably want to play just to get achievements. It wasn't until I achieved a gamer score of 100,000 where I was like, all right, I've hit a milestone that I never thought I'd hit. And I started backing away from that. And I told myself I never cared about platinuming a game. It wasn't until Spider-Man that I even did that feat on the PS4. But I was like, trophies, don't care. I'm playing games on PlayStation to enjoy them. And it was from having a PS3 and then a PS4 where I was playing games for the games again. And then it's ultimately why I love Nintendo, because none of these things exist, but is also a deterrent for some games that are collectathon games, like the Lego games, to 100% them with the non-existing trophies or achievements. Because what's really my point here for grinding this to 100%? So it's depending on the game, but ultimately I feel that long TLDR, right? Long story short is I feel that's something easily lost. And then with critics out there, which is generally why I don't review games anymore, it's one of those things to easily get into because you can, as a listener, you can easily interpret that outside of a subjective, review. So
yeah, absolutely.
But my top 5 in no specific order except for my number 1 pick. I'll start with my middle ground 4, and then an honorable mention being Smash. Didn't make my top 5. It should be, but it's not. My mix-up of the 4, and again, no specific order. Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Switch. I talked about why earlier. Resident Evil 2. Death Stranding. Gears 5. And then my personal pick for Game of the Year is Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch.
And that's got to be heavily weighted in with the family aspect, I assume.
No, it's really not. I just think it's a solid game. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. The mechanics alone, and this is what we talked about just a few seconds ago, specific things, but like, it's really easy to talk about these things because like that damn vacuum sucks up almost everything in that world. And visually speaking, it is a great looking game. So again, on a basic level, these are easily welcoming attributes of this game. But the story's fun. It is very family friendly and inviting. And yes, these are going to be cherished memories playing it with, my son. And it's one of those games that even if you're not a gamer, you're going to pick up this game and want to play it. And it's easy to play. And it's fun to play. And to me, that right there is the epitome of a Game of the Year candidate, if not Game of the Year.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. I'm going to clap it up. Well put. That was very well put.
Yeah.
Anything else on Game of the Year, you guys?
No.
No,
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I guess. Oh, wait. Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
What you doing?
Oh, yes. Our closing segment. As always, what you doing here? I'll kick things off. Thanks for asking, Caleb. So what I'm doing, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Still playing through Pokemon Sword right now myself. I get in the grind with my son, enjoying that, capturing a Pokemon. Eventually I'll finish it. I'm in no rush and in no hurry. I know there'll be another one next year in November to play, so I have plenty of time to enjoy and just slowly play through this one. The other thing that I'm looking forward to playing, as mentioned earlier, I did pick up 2 games, and not even out and about Black Friday shopping. This was purely Amazon. They had a sale on these. If you didn't know, I've talked about in high regard on the channel the Walking Dead Telltale games. It's something I've brought up many times, and they finally have a definitive collection that came out, I think, a month or 2 ago. The significance of this is different than how they released them previously. Previously, you would get the game, and you would get the first episode on disc. You'd buy the season pass that way, basically by buying a physical copy or digital copy, right? It was like $20. Well, with that, you would get the first episode, and then you would download the remaining ones. That's all fine and dandy. But for those that don't know the controversy, that company is no longer. meaning digital content, they're going to purge that at some point. So even if you purchased it, you won't be able to obtain it.
You went out there for a minute. We got about half of that last sentence there, Trev.
I'm saying, all right, let me repeat that. So Telltale, the game company, the developers,
Went out of business, yeah.
they're gone. So you would buy the season, even if you got a disc, you get episode 1 on disc. The remaining episodes are download only. So if you don't own them, even though you purchase them, they're going to be gone once they shut that down. You'll never be able to play it again. The significance of this disc, it's
Is
everything.
that it's all on there?
It's all on the disc.
Nice.
Everything. Every season, every expansion, every episode, all on the disc. No download.
Big.
So even if they pull those from the store, you can still play it.
Really, really big.
So
That is a big deal for sure.
So to me, that was a point where I'm like, you know what? That's worth investing. It was like $29.
Oh, yeah.
Which is amazing. 4 seasons and 2 DLCs.
That is actually a pretty big deal. I didn't know that had come out.
Yeah, it was quietly released on PS4 and Xbox One.
Nice catch. Good save.
So, and what did I mention? Oh, Astral Chain. So I picked that up as well. That was another one that was on sale for the Nintendo Switch. So I'm looking forward to finally playing that one. But that's it for my what you doing or what you about to be doing. Rob, what you doing?
Well, I had on my list Luigi's Mansion 3 because when I made my list, I was still, in the middle of it. But as I said, that's what I was doing. I am done with it now. It is over. I also mentioned I just started playing Man of Medan. I'm really looking forward to playing more of that. For those of you who own the game, if you didn't already hear, or those of you considering getting the game, they recently gave away a free guest pass to everyone who owns the game that allows one person to do the share play story mode along with you online. I mentioned earlier the game can be up to 5-player couch co-op. But it is only 2-player online. If you want to play that game online with somebody, say, you got a buddy who moved away or went off to college, or you only know them online or whatever, if they don't own the game but you do, you can give them that pass, and all they have to download is the demo, and then that pass enables them to play through the story mode with you in its entirety. The catch is it's one pass, one-time use, one playthrough. So whoever you give it to, once you finish your playthrough of the share play with them, the pass is, consumed. You can't do that with somebody else ever again. But that's, a reason to kind of check it out. Or if you know somebody who has it, see if they want to give you that pass and maybe check it out yourself. But I really have been enjoying the game a lot, so I'm looking forward to get back to it. As a belated birthday present, again, shout out to Kevin. He bought me Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker on the Switch. So that's on my what you doing. I started playing that over the weekend. I'm enjoying it very thoroughly. Again, I love puzzle games. Kind of a no-brainer there. And lastly, along the 2 last Untitled Goose Game, I've still got to complete the New Game Plus version, so that's on my doing. But Catastronauts is another one of those dumb couch co-op PC games that I scooped up, and it's a lot of fun. There's not really a ton to say about it. It's a group of astronauts. If you've ever played the game FTL, Faster Than Light, it's similar thematically to that, in that you run around inside the ship and you have an enemy attacking you, and all you're concerned with is what you're doing inside the ship to survive and fight back. And that's it. So it's another kind of pseudo puzzle game, I'll say. But that's kind of what I've been up to.
Nice.
Caleb? What you doing?
Rob, I am so glad you asked. So in the world outside of gaming, it's I'm a baseball coach for those who didn't know. So it's kind of starting to get into the preseason of baseball. A couple workouts, trying to kind of get my mind into baseball mode. So if you guys are ever curious about that kind of stuff, feel free to I don't know, chat it up and ask about technology and baseball nerdism and stuff like that. I'm doing a lot of online shopping at work rather than working, so that's exciting. We're contemplating tomorrow being Cyber Monday, blocking Amazon from our network just to see the people cry.
Don't do that.
Yeah. It's a funny idea. I don't think I could ever actually do it because what would I do at work tomorrow?
Right.
So, but then kind of getting back into the gaming world, as I so eloquently hinted at, I do want to talk about Pokemon Sword because that's what's been controlling my life for the past couple weeks, and specifically naming Pokemon. So one of my favorite parts about new Pokemon games is seeing Pokemon that I don't know or don't remember and giving them names based off of what they look like. So I'm just going to run through some of my favorite names. You guys can feel free to guess who they are or just kind of laugh at what they sound like. And so here we go. Mini Shredder, The Rock, Snot Cute, Emo Candle, Dweeb, Barney, Thigh Nuts, Cool Cone, Snotsicle. I think that might be some of my favorite ones.
Sandshrew is one of those.
Here we go. Cupcake Claws. So there's that.
I got nothing on any of those.
I want to say Sandshrew was one of those.
No, none of those
No?
were Sandshrew.
I got nothing then.
No. Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't even know the name of most of the actual Pokemon, which is sad, but it's also just the way I like to play the game.
And see, we talked about that before, whereas for me, learning the actual Pokemon names, I don't name them. Or I'll run into the same issue, whereas I don't even know the actual name. So I generally don't name any of my Pokemon. I'm boring. Sorry.
It is a little boring. It's okay, because you don't have a guy named Thigh Nuts.
No, I don't.
I named that because it looked like he had nuts on his thighs.
That could be a fun
that.
incentive for a live stream playing through Pokemon and having people donate 100 bits to get in the raffle for one, but also to be able to name the Pokemon as we catch them.
That would be a blast. I would be down for that.
That could be an interesting stream. Ideas? Who knows?
There we go. Well, that's all I got. Thank you guys for asking what I'm doing. Hopefully it entertained you. And hopefully you got your hashtag $12 worth.
Hopefully, because this is a free podcast. I hope you didn't spend $12 to listen to it. If you did, thank you. But where'd the $12 go? Because it didn't go to us.
That's more on the company card. I'll talk to you about that often.
Yeah. As soon as we got the
Raven Knight in chat says he also does not name his Pokemon Travis, so you should feel better.
We're just boring, It's fine. Not everyone is as exciting as Caleb is. You live your life on the edge, man. I don't know how you do it.
Breaking rules, renaming Pokemon.
You really do.
You got an edgy guy here every episode. Speaking of every episode, this has been episode 103, our game of the year for 2019. Looking forward to the future later this month. Specifically, right now we have penciled in the date of Friday the 13th. Because it is going to be...
Whose choice was that?
Mine. Because it is going to be your night of hell, Rob. Why, you ask? Well, episode 104 is going to be a episode that, sure, you'll be able to hear a podcast later on, but you're going to definitely want to watch this one live on video as we stream it on Twitch Friday, December 13th. No specified time as of yet, probably 8 p.m. But what we're going to be doing is talking about our top 10 games of the decade. In just a few short weeks, the 2010s are done. We're going to be roaring 20s here. So we got to talk about the last 10 years in gaming and pick our top 10 favorites. And Raven in chat says hot sauce. So what we're doing, we're starting at number 10 and working our way down to 1 in a round robin sort of fashion. We'll all go around, take a bite of our hot sauce, whether it be on a chicken nugget, a hot wing, or whatever you want to put it on. Just a little
nuggets,
dab.
Honestly.
On what?
I vote nuggets.
Nuggets, yeah. I mean, we could do nuggets, we could do chips, we can do wings, whatever you want to put it on. We're going to start at number 10. It's going to be just some mild, basic sauce. Baby sauce. We'll all go around and say our 10th pick. We'll all have this prepared, so it's not going to be like very time-consuming and elaborate. We're not going to be like our podcast tonight and expand upon our reasoning. We're just going to name the game, eat our bite, and react. And as we get down our list, oh boy, will we react. Eventually working our way down to our number one pick. If we can all make it and we don't tap out. If we tap out, you'll never know our higher ranked picks of the decade unless we release it down the road. So you can tap at any time. You don't have to complete this challenge. But just be knowing that you're going to be forever on camera tapping out to the challenge. Our hottest sauce.
Batman, there will be no beans. I have spoken.
No beans. The hottest sauce will be the Carolina Reaper.
Oof.
Which I believe is in the 2 to 3 million Scoville.
Yeah, it's up there. It is.
And we're going to start at 300.
As of I think a year ago, it had recently been knocked off, but it was the hottest pepper alive, known to man, up to, like I said, maybe a year and a half ago.
And all you got to do is a little dab. That's it. That's all you need on some of these. The ghost pepper, just kind of from placement here, I think it's like 4 or 5, and that's pretty damn hot. So
not too far.
Yeah, if you're gonna want to catch any of our episodes, catch 104, our next one. No show next Sunday for the podcast because we are saving it for that following Friday for our game of the decade. I'm excited to hear your picks, but I'm more excited to watch Rob suffer. Sorry, Rob.
So are we doing this as a video then?
Yes,
that one?
This is a video, but we'll export audio, obviously, for podcast purposes.
Well, yeah, of course.
But this will be a video broadcast. We'll set upstairs and have the dining room with the green screen backdrop and so on.
Right on.
It may be a short episode. It may be a long one. We don't know. It'll also coincide.
That's why Fridays are good for that.
Right. It'll also coincide as our Christmas episode this year too, to give people a little bit of time off and spend time doing what you want to do for the holidays. And secondly, give our insides a bit of a break and time to recover before we put out new content, because we might be spending a lot of time in one specific room in our homes.
Yes.
Is it the bedroom?
Probably not.
I sure hope not.
I mean, you might start there and not make it to the other room, but yeah.
That'd be an answer to one of Caleb's other questions.
Small says that you complain when you get black pepper in a meal.
Oh,
yeah,
dear,
she's
we're in trouble.
Oh,
she's not wrong, but what she's not telling you is that I just don't like the taste of pepper.
Oh, right on. So
I'm sure you'll love the taste of these hot sauces.
Rob is going to be front and center in the middle of the show.
Buffalo.
So tune in for that. That is our very next episode. Again, tentative date and time, Friday the 13th, December 13th. That is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live on twitch.tv/Dose of Nerd Acumen. But ultimately, unless you all have any closing thoughts.
Nope, just one little quick burn, I guess pun unintended here, from the chat, is that Redbeard said that apparently we won't know Locke's last 7 games of the decade because he's only gonna make it through 3 wins. So we'll see if that
You'd be lucky to get past 9.
You can tap out at any time. I don't want anyone to have to suffer. We might be at a point where and Andrew and I are talking about this too. Like, I was like, how many bit donations would it take for you to eat some of these things? And she was up into the thousands. So I don't know if anyone's generous enough to do that, to watch Andrea suffer on camera. But that's the kind of money she said it would take for her to even try this challenge. So anyone can tap out at any time. You just don't have the privilege of being able to share your top 10 of the decade live.
I think that's a fair trade-off.
I think so too. But ultimately, this has been episode 103, our Game of the Year episode for the Dosage, our podcast available on multiple platforms, including Apple, Google, my favorite, Spotify. Again, just search for Dose of Nerd Acumen. You'll find one of a few current ones. If you want to check out Caleb's Dose of Nerd Audio, please do so. He's got some really cool content there. We also have the Nerds of Wrestling podcast if you like wrestling. Not as frequently updated, but definitely check that out. And any podcast platforms that you prefer, just search for Dose of Nerd Acumen. We may already be on there. Do us a favor, give us a follow, sub, and support what we do. We love giving our feedback and entertaining you all. And of course, every Tuesday, every Thursday on Twitch, we have a wrestling show. Come join the fun, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will see you there. And until next time, what do you got, Caleb?
Stay nerdy.
See ya.
All right.
All right, bye.
Hold on.
Wait.
Wait.
Hold on. Oh.
Trevor says 10,000 bits and someone will eat a ghost pepper. It sounds like he's volunteering.
No, he can handle it. You have enough bits.
No, I meant to eat the pepper, not to donate.
I'm not eating ghost.
I'm not eating a ghost pepper. Not for 10,000.
No, they have that chip challenge.
I think I did try a piece of that chip. Anyway, now that I've derailed the ending and screwed everything up, thanks for watching, guys, and for listening.
Good. Yeah. All right, one more time. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and any favorite social media you may have. We're probably there. Again, the Dosage Podcast brought to you by Dose of Nerd Acumen. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you, Rob, for joining me. And until next time, have a good time, everybody.
See ya.